Hello, hello, and welcome into Risen. We're getting ready for week 7 of our Premade Dominate. We've got Arctic Ops versing. Oh my god, I gotta say this whole name. We Love Soulbert Champions Edition. I just want to make sure I got the Champions Edition because they are the team that won last time around, and they wanted to make sure everyone knew that that was their title. I'm Mad Magical. I'm joined in by Doctor. Doc, how's it going?
I'm having a great day, and what a day, what a weekend, really, for esports. We had the LEC making history. We have Pentakill making history later today. And here on Risen, we also have history being made. Both of these teams will, unfortunately, be playing to take the first loss to the other team. Both teams 6-1, really raring to go, and they are hyped.
Arctic Ops definitely wanting to see if they can take down We Love Soulbert and make it so that Champions Edition doesn't feel quite so special anymore. That'd be a great way to kind of enter in playoffs, right? You're the team that was able to take down the previous champions in the regular split, gets a good name for yourselves and all that jazz, but right now we're just kind of waiting for them to be able to start off the pro draft whenever they're ready for that one. Mostly because I'm also curious to see how things are going to go. We're only on 11-7 yet, so not getting quite the juiciness of 11-8 where we get the changes to Rammus, where I'm theorizing that Rammus will be played all the time. We're still in a meta where Urgot top is one of the most dominant top laners.
True, and I mean 11-8 I believe also has the Darius/Morgana changes and as Zed, well.
And Mordekaiser.
Yep, so I think jungle on 11-8 is up in the air. But for now, we are still in 11-7, where we have Udyr and Hecarim running wild, the Chem Tank Masters there, sprinkling a little bit of Lilia and Graves. Jalingo has almost 300 games of Graves, so I'm expecting either a ban or a pick. That champion can be quite nutty as well. But yeah, meta right now, I feel like it's pretty locked in.
I do too. I feel like it's been that way for quite some time. And honestly, when it comes to like how springs work, you know, spring split and summer split kind of work, I'm always glad when things stays relatively consistent just for what we get to see of who's the dominant team on a certain meta. 11-8 I know will change a lot going into summer, but we're still waiting until that happens and what's going to unfold then. I want to also kind of see if we can pivot a little bit more onto the topic of maybe like mid lane or even bot lane picks, because you and I were talking, well, I know you were talking about this, Doc, that you're not so happy with the fasting Santa Tom Kench still kind of being in the meta in the bot lane.
It's just the Kench. I don't like the frog. That's all it is. I'm fine with Senna.
Catfish.
Super big. Get it out of my lane. Give me the Void Monster Cho'Gath, the Undead Scion, even big old Punchy Man Set can be, you know, can find a place down there. But I mean, we're heading into draft now, Magical, and already we're finding a lot of things being banned away that we've been talking about.
And there's that Senna ban for you. They took that away, saying like, yeah, no, we don't want Doc to have an aneurysm over there. We're gonna get rid of that one. But also looking like it's gonna be double up on the jungle bans if Soulbert does hit the bench with Graves. A bit unusual because we've been seeing Udyr, as you had already mentioned, being something that's really been the dominant jungler throughout this meta. But Soulbert has been something that's cropped up as recently as 11-6. That, with everything being banned away, Seraphine was let right through.
Yeah, this was something again that we were really talking about, how we're like, this champion has been banned away so often. Teams don't even know how to play it anymore. Like, they just don't get the opportunity. So Arctic Ops apparently still having practice on it, still feeling fresh. Go for that first pick. It is insanely good when paired appropriately. Massive flex as well. You can take it mid or bottom into the support or the AD role. So you don't truly know where that's going to go. Soulbert, though, ready, willing, and able to pick up that Hecarim first pick. And with the Orianna, super deadly combo.
But it is interesting to see Orianna drafted so early, just because when you have a blind pick mid laner in round 2, it kind of leaves you open to a lot of different angles that Arctic Ops now can find themselves to try to see if they want to be able to punish the ball bringer, the ball giver over to Hecarim. Seraphine, you already mentioned, could go mid lane, but they could also flex that around, see if they want to maybe grab Lucian into that mid lane to be able to really dominate that Orianna.
Yeah, there's a lot of picks that, you know, as safe as Orianna can be as a blind pick, can really punish them. Lucian obviously is one. Renekton was banned away, can also do quite well into the Orianna had it been an option. You can also kind of do like some really out of the box style things, like take a set mid. And with the second pick here from Arctic Ops, we're going to get their support pick, meaning it is going to be that mid lane Seraphine and the Udyr jungle.
It could still be the ADC
the Seraphine rel set.
Could be. I highly doubt it. It's more than likely
There's
that
actually
Irish Bounty Hunter is going to be taking that Seraphine mid lane just because that makes more sense.
There's a good amount of kill pressure if you actually think about it, though, because you have the Rel go in, land with the crash down, then you get the guaranteed snare from the Seraphine, combo all the damage on top of that, potentially with a little bit of help from Udyr, and there is a lot of kill threat in that Seraphine Rel lane if you do decide to go that route.
Sorry, I'm also watching the LEC on my second monitor. And,
I think that one's over.
Oh my goodness. That was not a result I was expecting, especially with how far ahead I'm not gonna spoil it, with one of the teams being for so long in that final game. But damn, what a finish. Going back over to this one though. We got two top laners now being banned away. We see Gangplank, Aatrox both taken away. The Gragas pick we didn't get to really touch on.
Nope.
And that does have a lot of flexibility in it, right? It could be top lane. We could see that in for scouting grounds, or it could be flex into the bot lane, go for Ishwan, and then maybe like something like that. I can also hear someone's listening, the LEC in the background on my mic.
It's yeah, it's there. Gragas, tons of flexibility. I am actually super interested to see where this will go, because I think he will actually do quite well into the bottom lane. Having the ability to interrupt to the rel engage can be very crucial. So I've been seeing a lot of Thresh as well, even though he's not in the best of spots, even when you go the Dark Passage max first, and it's just much more supportive role. So that opportunity can bring a lot to the table. More bans away. Another top laner being banned away in the form of Kale. Corki Bando's way as well. I do like that. Corki's been cropping up a little bit. We had a little bit of a Corki Azir meta for a minute there, but get them out of here. Soulbert still having the option here for their AD carry, looking to give the Ashe and then securing that top lane counter pick for themselves.
I did tell you a little bit of the fun fasting Senna builds that we've been seeing with Ashe support. I mean truly Ashe support, where it's like Imperial Mandate Ashe. We're not going to see that today just because, obviously, with Senna taken away. But it is a funny one whenever you see Ashe, you're like, oh, could it be the Imperial Mandate Ashe that we're seeing? Maybe. But they really do need that AD because Hecarim, while he is going to be someone who is going to be deceptively a damage dealer for the team, it's not quite enough. They need to be able to have that powerful bang behind it. And so with Ashe, something that can really take over the spot lane and be something that can constantly shove in, I like the Sivir pick to kind of answer that.
I'm actually loving Arctic Ops composition so far. It's just all forward all the time. We're gonna kill you. We're gonna be in your face post level 6 for every single second. And surprisingly, Urgot made it this entire draft untouched. Great blind here. It does give Soulbert the counter pick, but like, what do you counter pick into Urgot at this point?
Darius. Not much. Darius, yeah. And even that is difficult just because right now with Titanic Hydra on Urgot, it's such a strong power spike for this champion. That's why we're seeing on 11-8. It's getting just the item alone is getting nerfed to try to be able to deal with it. But it looks like We Love Soulbert going to be able to grab that Gnar. Another one of those top lane picks that's a bit surprising to see drafted so late into the draft and will eventually be getting some nerfs. But at the moment, at least he's in a good enough spot to try to be able to contend with Urgot top lane.
Yeah, a lot of it kind of relies on the trading patterns of the Gnar. Mini, very squishy, can't quite hold up to the Urgot power for a lot of the time. Early on, I think the Boomerang plus the Frenzy W will be pretty impactful to the Urgot as long as you don't just get full engaged on with the help of Udyr. So Gnar can farm safely. Urgot will eventually build up enough power that it becomes problematic. But, as we were talking about team fight wise, Urgot can be deceptively strong if in the right hands. Being able to get a big multi-man fear off with the Fear Beyond Death can really swing a team fight just as much as, say, a Shockwave can. So Gnar there is going to have a lot of pressure to land a proper Gnar and really take care of this backline that, with the Seraphine, will be very safe and very healthy for a lot of the game.
And that's the one thing that we do have to keep an eye on, is that while We Love Soulbert does have a lot of good options for engage and wombo combo potential, right? Arctic Ops have a pretty good disengage re-engage composition. They're a composition that does not necessarily want to just dive in and then full on fight that way. They got Udyr, even Seraphine, Sivir, Rel can kind of engage, disengage at will to be able to really help facilitate what this team wants to be able to do.
Yeah, and I mean, I was saying earlier, I really like the Arctic Ops composition. The Urgot kind of rounds it out nicely because they are going to be so quick and so in their face. But We Love Soulbert have a pretty great disengage composition when you look at it as well. You know, you can look at all the engage tools that they have to the table. You know, the Onslaught of Shadows, the Shockwave, the Gnar, like all of these can couple into this really strong team fighting engage composition. But when you look at, you know, potentially the defensive Shockwave or the explosive cast to get people away, or, you know, the Enchanted Crystal Arrow just as like a stall tool, like they can hold their own and potentially outlive that initial assault that Arctic Ops are going to be bringing. And then at that point, they've had an amazing, you know, re-engage composition. You have the slows from the Ash, the dissonance from the Oriana to, you know, be in and out, whether it's slowing or speed boosting, Hecarim, and just being everywhere because he's so dang quick. Like, especially with Ghost popped, he's just in and out of the team fight so much that, you know, We Love Soulbert, they don't necessarily die at the first engage. If they can survive, they can turn it around and have a really, you know, good shot at becoming successful in that.
And that's what we'll have to see if they're going to be able to do in game one. But right now, we're going to toss a break so we can get ready to load up onto the Rift for that first game. So stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back here to Risen. We have loaded up onto the Rift for game number 1 between Arctic Ops and We Love Soulbert Champions Edition. Yes, I read the script again just to make sure that I got that right. We are loaded up and I am ready to see how this first game between these two undefeated Titans will undergo.
Yeah, and already pretty standard stuff coming out from both teams, making sure that they get that 5-point stance, making sure that they don't lose out too much on the information war. I do agree, Magical. I do wish we had a much more aggressive level 1.
I always boo the standard line of scrimmages. No fun had. All this lameness. Come on, fight! Give me something to cheer on early on.
Yeah, especially when you're not even, trying to get early vision. Like you're seeing here, Jalingo is going back.
Oh no!
He puts it at his own entrance to make sure he doesn't get invaded upon.
Boo!
But
Fight! Boo!
It's a very defensive ward, and it even gets pinged out. So now, Arctic Sands, if they so choose, can just go to a different entrance.
Like, look at this. IRS Bounty Hunters even gone with here the gotta start, which means nothing's gonna happen in that mid lane. Nothing's gonna go on there. Maybe top lane will have a little bit of fun, but I see Fleet of Footwork over on Scouting Grounds. Nothing's gonna come of this. Oh, come on, guys. Now I gotta
bot lane.
Okay, yeah, bot lane. We do have Rel versus Gragas, and I always find it hilarious that Gragas' body slam overrides almost anything that isn't an ult. That it's the most powerful form of CC that's not an ult. And yet he's just, a guy who carries around some wine.
It's not just a little wine, it's a whole cask of wine.
And it's also got, if you look at the lore, it's got like the shard of true ice or something in there as well. And so it's like the perfect brew, blah, 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 whatever the lore says. And I still like the one Reddit post from a while back that said Gragas is actually an omnipotent god. And that he is the most powerful being on... Oh, look at that. Look at this. He's already got the damage, and they get first blood. Omnipotent godly powers in the bot lane. Might even be able to get the double kill onto Yoshiko. No, not going to go for the full chase. Instead, just going to be happy with that one on to Elise.
Yeah, just burn the flash, the ignite. Rel not able to escape at that point. Free, easy kill, and it goes over to Soulbert as well. So you get that 400 gold first blood onto your main carry here. Yeah, I mean, how many supports have you ever played with Magical that will actually give you first blood like that?
I'm the support who takes the kills, so...
Yeah, exactly.
I can tell you right there that normally how it goes is the ADC gets the farm. I get the kills. That's how I play. That's my rules of bot lane.
Okay, medic.
Hey, I've been doing that for years. I'm a Vigar support player. You think that I haven't been the innovator of that for years? Please.
Oh, I miss old Vigar support. Although that also
the instantaneous stun.
the good old days, where you just couldn't react, you just died on sight. But
those were fun days. Those were fun days. I used to do that with the LeBlanc support, LeBlanc bot lane as well. And so you have the instantaneous stun, and then a follow-up of death from LeBlanc.
Yeah. Now we just have to do with Pantheon and Rel.
That one was copied. So, but yeah, it's, Pantheon not so much in the bot lane. We used to see him so much more, but now it's just been Rel, Alistar, Gragas even still kind of retaining a little bit of that spot in the seat of power in the bot lane. Even if he has a good flex tool to be able to have, you see what you can accomplish in a bot lane like that. Ishwan was able to really utilize that and saying, hey, Ferromancy's down. We have that level 2 advantage. Might as well fully commit for this so that we can retain that edge, since what is Sivir really going to be able to do? She's the PvE bot lane champion, right? She pushes the lane, and that's about all she does for a while.
Yeah, and a lot of it is actually going to be countered quite easily by Ashe Gragas, who pushes very fast as well. So until the first item or so comes out from for Yoshiko, they're not going to have like the all supreme pushing power. And so for now, they are staying pretty even on CS, but they're constantly being shoved in. So this is gonna be a time when you would like to see Arctic Sands try and attempt something, but when you have like massive waves like this is like almost 3 full waves worth of caster minions crashing into the tower at once, and you somehow have to farm this out as Sivir at level 4. Like if you send out one too many ricochets, they're all of a sudden too low to fully grasp all the way down. So
exactly.
they're able to pick them up.
Look at that vision line too, placed down by We Love Soulbert. There's no real way for Arctic Sands to even be able to get into that bot lane pretty easily to be able to punish them. So much control has been laid out in this early game by Soulbert's team to make sure that this bot lane is retained in control of their hands.
Yeah, throw a hawk shot in there as well. You're never getting ganked. Soulbert's so in control, and this is the opposite of where you want to be seeing Rel. So, you know, you can still have that hard engage help and a little bit of assistance, but as we've already seen, you miss it once, you are in a world of hurt. And Zepp now looking to be on the receiving end of a nice gank in from Jalingo, who's hit level 6.
Going to be able to get the flip, the flash away, though. It's got that fun interaction when you flash away from the knockback coming in from a Hecarim. Still get knocked back, but still was safe enough with Arctic Sands nearby. Calling up Earl King, just in case they want to keep contending in the top lane. Depending on what happens with bot lane, Fairmancy to be able to get away. We shift back top lane, going to be the knockback. No flash this time for Zepp to be able to get away from Earl King from Jalingo. So they give the kill over to Scouting Grounds, knowing that that was easily done.
The kill priority coming in from Soulbert, We Love Soulbert, has been really on point, you know, giving Soulbert the kill in the bottom lane, giving Scouting Ground the kill in the top lane. You know, even in situations where it might not be guaranteed to be able to do something like that, it gives so much pressure to these individual laners. And, you know, you're seeing a teleport into the top lane from Zepp, no flash still. Arctic Sands is here, but they're just going to do it again.
Rinse and repeat, double fear as well with the onslaught of shadows. Arctic Sands trying to be able to get away, flashed, leaving Zepp out to dry. Unfortunately, Fear Beyond Death went the wrong way, and he dies to Jalingo, while barely Arctic Sands was able to hold on to his own life.
It was a little close. Jalingo almost went down. Had the fear actually connected, maybe they do, you know, fall. But that is worst case scenario for Zepp. You burned flash originally, got ganked again and died, teleported back to lane in the middle of the lane and died again. So now you're getting a huge wave crashing into tower. You're going to lose plate gold. You lost kill gold. You have to slowly walk back to lane, and all you have to show for it is a pickaxe and boots. Like, if we take a look at the gold here, it is an almost 900 gold difference between the two top laners right now.
7.5 minutes too. That is a massive discrepancy to already have happen. And I love that Earl King's also been a part of a lot of this, right? Trying to be able to rotate up top lane with Jalingo. Since this mid lane, what are you really going to be able to accomplish? Seraphine versus Orianna is pretty much who clears out the waves better. Now, on the other side, we need to see what our IRS Bounty Hunter is going to be able to do in response. Since we've seen Earl King already try to make these plays elsewhere, we need to see the Seraphine do the same.
And you sort of started to see that just a second ago, where they made it down to about the Dragon Pit, but because of that ward line that you were mentioning earlier, Magical, they had a lot of timing to fall back, and so Soulbert and Eshwan just kind of walked away from the wave, just slowly, you know, basically not frozen because it obviously wasn't frozen, but they just did what they needed to do to stay safe.
Earl King easily able to walk away from that one. Unfortunately, without that Turbo Chem tank for Arctic Sands, no flash either. Not going to get the flash bear slap. Well, Zepp getting harassed massively. Gnar all into the wall to get a lot of damage. Boulder, unfortunately, was body blocked by the caster minion. So Zepp is going to be pretty safe, but that was a lot of damage traded immediately with this level advantage now for Gnar.
Yeah, it's a little concerning as the Urgot, you know, falling behind early, because, you know, when you think of when you see a strong Urgot, it's when they're ahead, they're able to build their items. They get that Titanic Hydra super quickly. When, you know, they're in this situation fighting into an already completed plated steel caps.
Fear Beyond Death, gonna get the flip over the wall. Should be able to drag him back in with the chains, and that's gonna be nice. Trying to help out that top lane, as you were just talking about, saying that he was in a bad position. Well, some gold is better than no gold.
Yeah, and especially because, you know, they timed it perfectly. They got the mini Gnar form when they needed it to be down, and they take full advantage of it. They get the kill back onto Zepp, evens up the gold a little bit. Now they're back
better than nothing.
500-600, so it'll even out a little bit. The farm was what was really becoming problematic there because of that huge wave that Scouting Ground had been able to crash. Now that it's been traded back, you know, they're back within a wave and a half roughly.
Exactly. It's like I said, some gold better than no gold. Getting this Urgot at least a little bit back into the game. Unfortunately, it's going to be a while since we really see that power spike for this Urgot, since it is the Iron Spike instead of going for the Tiamat that you sometimes see chosen to be able to get that early Tiamat. An early Titanic that I was talking about before, where Urgot's power spike really comes from being able to get that one item, how much it really works for him. But until then, you're still going to be in kind of that middling state, trying to really contend against a Gnar who, at this point, is still ahead of you.
Yeah, I think the thought process is going to be, get to that stride breaker, try and use it to close the gap a little bit physically, and be able to, try and clamp down on the scouting ground, who is so much more mobile than the Urgot. With the bounce and everything else going on with it, you need to somehow tie them down a little bit for Arctic Sands or IRS Bounty Hunter to come in and help you out. So stride breaker, getting that as quickly as possible, being able to activate it as soon as possible will help you out in the long run. Plated steel caps, obviously a huge impact here because they are just getting obliterated by the auto attacks from scouting grounds. So get that, try and survive a little bit, maybe get a little bit more help from your jungler, but the wards are insane on this bottom side. There's a control ward in the pit, control ward in the river. They have scuttle crab control. They have a ward onto the red buff bush. It absolutely no shot that Arctic Sands can come down here unless he goes through Krug's tri-bush. And even then, they just warded it. So he just can't get in.
Can I say, I'm going to be so happy when the Moonstone Renewer and Sap Flowing Water build path is gutted. I absolutely despise this build path. So boring, so lame, but so strong. I can't really argue with it. As now Zep tried to be able to dash away. It's going to be the TP coming in. Is he going to be able to survive long enough? I don't think he's going to be able to. He flashed away. Nice charm comes in with the encore. A lot of damage on top of Jalingo. The flash away bot lane. Going to be the Rift Herald that's been popped to be able to take down and get a Magnet Storm onto Soulbert. Even with the explosive cast, it doesn't help out enough. Now the flash coming in from Scouting Grounds on top of Arctic Sands to take him down. It is a 1-for-1 trade. He jumps back in, trying to take down Yoshiko, but it's going to be at least the Boomerang Blade getting a lot of damage. Finally dies to the double kill coming in from Scouting Grounds, make it a triple kill as he's finally able to silence the horse.
Absolute pandemonium across the map. You had the play on the top side that it looks like it went one for one. It looks like.
No, it was they got the kill onto Jalingo, but then bot lane. So technically, totally, it was a 2-for-3 because Soulbert died at the very beginning of all that, but the dive just ended up going so awry once Scouting Grounds was able to show up.
Yeah, Scouting Grounds, having already been quite ahead there, teleports in, perfect time, full rage bar on the Gnar. It was get a 2-man Gnar into the wall. You saw Arctic Sands still holding tower aggro, then gets walloped as well, takes an extra tower shot or two, the final boulder to close that out. And then Scouting Grounds still had Hop as well, so he's able to hunt down Yoshiko there, even dodging out on the spell shield there. So you did get the second wallop there. Boulder, too much damage to contend with as an 80 carry, so they fall down. Even Ellis able to get a really nice set of combos there to try and keep the 80 carry alive, just wasn't able to do it. They fall because they're Rel. What are they supposed to do all by themselves? If you think about it, they're just a tankier Yumi in a certain sense.
They pretty much have one function, and that is CC. Trying to lock down people, maybe providing a little bit of shielding, but that's about it.
It's what Leona should be, except Leona will also kill you solo. So
I always love watching the top lane Leona's, but right now bot lane, nice dive on top of Soulbert. Easy execution of that gank coming in from both Arctic Sands and Elise to make sure there was no way to be able to get out. No flash, no cleanse. Pretty much just dead on arrival. So Yoshiko going to be able to get the first turret of the game over to the side of Arctic Ops.
And that was due to the vision control being taken back here by Arctic Ops. We talked about how much We Love Soulbert had invested into that bottom lane. After that tower dive, they were able to, kind of take it back a little bit. They took over the vision in the river itself. And because of that control ward there, Soulbert had no idea there was a 2-man waiting party in that bush form. So as soon as they get anywhere close, Ellis able to jump in, use the ultimate, snare him up, throw them into the bear, and even with the explosive counts there from Eshwan, there just wasn't enough separation to survive there. The stun was too strong.
Remember I said I loved what the early vision looked like for the side of We Love Soulbert? That's completely gone, at least on the bottom half of the map. You can see how blue the vision has now become. As Arctic Ops were able to take control of that, getting those dives, and even if that first dive didn't necessarily work out so well, it still meant that they could retain control of vision, but topside they don't have that luxury. You can see with the shockwave onto Elise, yeah, going in blind, and it's an easy execution by Earl King.
So that's 2 plays within very short succession that we've seen from both teams that show how important this vision control is going to be this entire game, because both teams, if they find you unawares, will just melt you in a second, and there's not really anybody that's going to be able to survive. Smite goes out.
Was able to steal that away with the smite. They're going to be able to get the stun on top of him with the flip back too. Here's the change, but it's going to only be fear onto 1. Scouting Grounds, the one with the shutdown gold, gifted over to Arctic Sands. IRS Bounty Hunter trying to be able to get away. Flashed from Earl King. Here's the arrow. It's connect only onto 1, but it's enough to disengage for the side of We Love Soulbert.
So overall, again, a little bit greedy there from Jalingo. You know, did steal the blue buff away, but it was more of a buff transfer complete, as it did end up going over to Zep there. And then, you know, you mentioned it was the one-man fear. It was exactly who they wanted, though, because Scouting Ground had all that bonus gold from that triple kill down in the bottom lane. You give that back over, you get such a huge swing in gold now. And when you look at it, there's still a bit of a gap, right? There's still a 600 gold gap between these top laners, but a lot of that's going to come down to, you know, the little bit of CS difference, the plate difference between the two of them as well. So Zep's trying, and so far, you know, team fight wise, he's shown up a little bit more, even though Scouting Ground had that big solo kill.
Oh, now Zep looks like he's going to be able to get Soulbert pretty easily with the Track Repel to help out for a Rampage. And a 300 gold bounty now on top of Zep, who had a difficult early phase to this game, looking pretty strong.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta hold on tight to your guns and they'll come back to help you eventually.
Yoshiko doesn't really have the mana, was able to body block at least with the spell shield, but unfortunately still dies to Jalingo. Arctic Sands trying to be able to run away. The flash body slam with the cast into the wall on top, flashed away though with the blast cone. Arctic Sands pulled back in by the shockwave, shut down by Earl King.
Are you kidding me? That's so unfortunate for Arctic Sands. Once that flash came out, I was like, all right, they're fine. They're going to get the blast cone over the wall. They're Udyr. You're never catching them. And then the shockwave just sucked them back in. Oh, no. You're holding your head in your hands watching that if you're Arctic Sands, because you thought you were out too. But there was the nice kill there. Scouting Ground able to go forward with the Stridebreaker of their own, and both the AD carriers, they're immobile. Like, you have a movement speed boost for Yoshiko, and it, you know, that's what Stridebreaker's there for. It's to counter that. You're not getting away from me with the slow, with the wall up, and they make it sure that they get the kill here. No real objective to be had afterwards with both the second Rift Herald and Dragon being down. It is going to be this Cloud Dragon Soul as well. So movement speed around the map is kind of absurd. This is a gotta go fast game.
Well, couldn't be better for both Udyr and Hecarim, right? Trying to make them run even faster in this game. But I kind of want to go back to the point you were talking about with the ADCs, how immobile they are. And really, if we think about it, their function more as utility, right? You got the arrow coming in from Soulbert to be able to help set up the team for some of these picks to start off the fights, while Yoshiko, they're going to be able to use on the hunt and try to speed up this Hecarim, speed up this Urgot to be able to get into the backline a little bit easier, and that's your function as well.
Yeah, and when you think about it, you know, the on the hunt works while you're alive. So if you're trying to use it as a defensive ultimate to try and make sure that, like, if you get jumped on to try and get away, you have to be able to survive that. So if you get caught out too hard, it's largely going to be a non-factor because you'll die. Doesn't really do a whole lot for the team. They'll get like a split-second speed boost because of the activation, but outside of that, it won't have the lasting effect. Whereas when Soulbert, if they get over-caught out, they can press that ultimate button and stun them for just a second because of the distance, but it is something they could potentially give you that extra second needed to flash out.
Ishwan with the encore as well, pulled back in. Fear on top of Earl King. They want to be able to take him down. Shockwave not in time. It's a double kill coming in from Zep. As they look to see if they can chase down Stun on top of Scouting Ground. Going to be able to get the hop away, but that's a lot of damage on top of him. All that is needed is their push back under the turret. This is going to be the Dragon controlled by Arctic Ops.
showing off exactly why Udyr Seraphine is so scary. You have, well, technically that was Zep on Urgot that time, but the point still stands. You have somebody rushing in there, hyper aggressive in the front lines, and you just layer the encore through your teammate, getting that extended range, and you can do some really sick combos with that to make sure that the pick is super successful. There was zero chance to escape that. The Fear Beyond Death from Zep then landing onto Earl King. Again, no chance of escape, no cleanse ability. No, Mikhail's, not Mikhail's, I'm sorry, what's the support one I'm thinking of? Crucible?
Yeah,
Crucible,
Mikhail's Crucible. You were on it.
I was thinking Scimitar. That's what it was.
Ah.
That's Mercurial anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, no chance for Earl King to cleanse out of the fear. So something that is going to be very productive later in the game, as we're seeing
Scattergrounds, you won the 1v1s earlier on. This time it's not so easy. You had to use a lot to be able to escape from that one. He nearly was dead, but like I said, once that Titanic Hydra is truly completed by Zep, it is over in that 1v1 fight. It's already looking pretty bad for the Gnar, but it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, and this is where Gnar gets some of the criticism, right? Because, you know, if you listen to certain analysts, he's a garbage tier champion and you shouldn't pick him ever.
What analysts are you talking about?
Listen, there's so many of them out there. I mean, they're in so many different regions as well. It'd be tough to name every single last one of them and their shadows that go along with it. But he kind of is he does good for a certain portion of the game. He was really dominant into those first couple levels on Zep, and now that they're on even footing, right? At that last fight they had in the bottom lane, they had the exact same items. They had the plated steel caps, the stride breaker, and it was giant spell versus Phage, so not exactly. Anyway, but he just got annihilated. Like, he got melted in mini form, and it wasn't until he had to blow his ultimate that he was in any kind of safety, and the bonus health from going mega, you know, brought him from like 26% HP to like 30%, which is why he didn't get hit by that second portion of Zep's ultimate.
Exactly. Now, try to see if they can at least make it so it's a bit easier for Scouting Ground into that matchup, but it's just not going to be. It's not going to be working out for a while. Pretty much what you want to do with this Gnar is probably even try to see if you can have him join the team. Earl King might be the better bet to try to contend with the Zep in a side lane, just because you can at least keep him at bay in a decent amount of range. And now it is the Urgot's time to shine. He's 6'2" and 1, has a 600 gold bounty on top of his head. He's just getting tankier with a giant spell in his inventory. But as we shift away from that, we look towards this Baron. You can see the tug of war happening with the vision between the two teams, trying to see if they can gain control of the territory around it. But right now, it is going slightly towards We Love Soulbert, just because it's the ebb and flow, right? We saw Red push back in, put down the ward, and now we're seeing the blue team, we're seeing Arctic Ops start to do the same. They're starting to see if they can get some of the vision control around themselves to see if they can force back in Soulbert to fight towards them.
There's also the Cloud Dragon in the next minute and a half, which not super impactful in its own right because it is only that 10% ultimate reduction, but it would become soul point there for Arctic Ops, which with their composition, with the exception of Udyr, all of their ultimates are very game-changing if you think about them as a team fight unit. So that's something they definitely want to keep their eyes on. They'd have 3 clouds into the soul at that point, which by itself is like 30% cooldown reduction on their ultimates, which is sick in its own right. And then you get that bonus move speed component as well. You'd love to see it if you're that composition. They will be going so fast, especially when they hit these buff, tunnels of wind. Like, what do you But
well, you got that. I'm also more just curious with the alt cooldown, because there are some impactful alts on both sides, right? You got the Urgot alt that we've already mentioned a couple times, but that Encore coming in from Bounty Hunter, even on the Hunt from Yoshiko. These are great tools to be able to get more of that increased cooldown timer when you just get the Cloud Dragons themselves. Not even talking about the soul. They just want to be able to get that. And then the other side, they have that same power that they'd love to be able to grasp for themselves. And that's why you see them trying to fight around here. Nice magnetic storm combo down to death, but they're still alive. Jalingo tried to dive into the backline. They already got the kill they needed to on Soulbert as Jalingo is on top of Bounty Hunter, flashing away, trying to be able to survive. But now finally it's taken down, and into the backline they go. taking down more of the side of Soulbert. Only one survives scouting ground, and he's not going to be able to do anything to stop the objective taken that is going to be on the docket for the side of Arctic Ops.
And they're just going right for the Baron. They don't even need this dragon at this point. It's still not up for 10 seconds at this point. And somehow Ira's bounty hunter survived that entire fight. Like, they were so engaged upon. You had Jalingo in the back line. You had Eshwan there as well. And they got insanely low, like 5% HP left low. But then it's the power of the Seraphine. You're able to shield back up, heal back up, and you still do a good amount of damage even with, you know, this Moonstone build. And now that they have that Putrefier, Chemtech Putrefier. There's so many words to start with a P in that sentence. But
grounds fighting one another. There's the Gnar ult available. Ferromancy over the wall to try to help out, but it's just to make sure that they can take down that Baron. The Gnar missed, and now the arrow connects on top of Zep, bounced around, still alive. Eshwan going to die over to Zep, who's legendary.
Talk about comeback stories. Zep has had so much agency in this game since he got that kill back. And now with the kill on Eshwan, they're even going to be able to fall down to the dragon and pick that up for free. And things have gotten very out of Soulbert's control. And it's looking tough for them to even come back. I mean, look at the items that they're bringing to the table. Most of them are on about 2 items on the side of Arctic Ops. Whereas, you know, We Love Soulbert, jungler still only on 1. You know, we're seeing 2 for the mid laner, 2 for the AD carry, 2 for top, but like they're not very tanky top laners in terms of Gnar or Urgot, but Urgot just does more so far.
Well, right now, Scouting Grounds wants to be able to keep seeing if he can kite back Zep. The problem is when in mini form, actually, you're more powerful into Zep than anything else, as long as you're able to kite back. But once you go Mega, you're no longer able to rely on that kite, and it's only going to be so long. If Zep can survive that, he's always going to be able to win that out with the help of that Fear Beyond Death. But that's the nature of the beast, right? Especially now that you're seeing a bit of a lead come in from Zep. I mean, it's not much of a lead, but at least it's something compared to the 2 early deaths that Zep had. And since then, he's been 0 and 8. He has been living in that kingdom top side.
Yeah, and something I would really like to see Arctic Ops do that they've kind of been doing up to a certain point is put Zep in that side lane, have it be met by Scouting Grounds, but then have a floating Arctic Sands Udyr so that you always have that numbers advantage. Nice. Udyr is going to have tons of move speed. I mean, he has, you know, the shoulder already. He's got the chem tank going into that Force of Nature next as well. So he is lightning quick, especially with the wind turbine that the buff circles are providing. So, I mean, you put Zep in the bottom lane, have the other 3 members in mid of, you know, Bounty Hunter, Yoshiko, and Ellis, because they're going to have tons of wave clear between the Seraphine and the Sivir, and then they have tons of escape patterns because you have, you know...
Ooh. The arrow came out, but I don't know if you want to follow that arrow up there, Soulbert. And that's the next problem, right? Is that this Ashe, the whole idea of her was, sure, you have a bit of disengage with the arrow, but you're trying to use that arrow to help set up these engaged fights, the Wombo combo coming in from Orianna, Hecarim, Gnar, that they've just not been able to have. And now that they're forced underneath these outer turrets, trying to see if they can just survive the chains coming from Zep to get another kill. This time it's underneath the turret, at least taking up a lot of damage, finally shut down. You see the bot laner gone, but at least it's going to be the re-engage coming in. Stunned onto Jalingo. Little bit of damage coming in from Bounty Hunter, trying to be able to get away with the help of the cannon minion. As the rest of Soulbert trying to kite back, trying to get away, but still, they lose the turret. The damage in from Zep. Earl King finished off. Legendary Zep is as Arctic Sands chases down the remaining members of We Love Soulbert, making sure they're pinned inside of their base.
Urgot's such a problem. How do you contest this? He wasn't even in that fight to begin with. You had Arctic Sands come roaring in with the help of Ellis, and then somehow that's the only 2 members that die for Arctic Ops is the bottom lane. Yoshiko somehow ended behind the turret. I think they must have gotten ulted by Eshwan or something because they were so far forward and fell short. But I mean, again, Zep so tanky here with this Stride Breaker, with this Titanic Hydra. You can't really contest him because he's just melting your face off, and there's nobody that's a true tank on the side of We Love Soulbert. The tankiest members of the Gnar and the Hecarim are too busy trying to get into this backline to stop Yoshiko and Ira's Bounty Hunter from just laying waste to the front of the line. And unfortunately for them, they just don't have the damage right now. And so they do lose the middle inhibitor. Dragon's up in a minute and a half, and this is Dragon Soul. So it is almost something that We Love Soulbert has to contest.
they have to do something to be able to fight back, right? And I'm waiting to see Soulbert utilize the Enchanted Crystal Arrow to find that pick, to set up the team, to be able to dive into the backline. Like last time, I get you wanted to be able to get the pick on a Bounty Hunter, but nobody on your team was in the proper position to be able to follow that up. These arrows are going to be what make or break, because if you can get a great one to land and the rest of your team can follow up, hell, if you can get it onto Zep and nuke him before he's able to do anything, there goes all the power on the side of Arctic Ops.
Yeah, I mean, you do kind of have to, you know, figure out, as we do see Zep getting aggressive here.
Oh, and I talked about if you can pick off Zep, that's huge, and he is way too far out, shut down by Earl King as well.
He kind of picked himself, if you think about it.
That is true.
He was all alone. The rest of his team's on the complete opposite side of the map, and that, you know, shutdown was 1,000 gold onto potentially the game-changing member of We Love Soulbert. It is that Orianna. Shockwaves are so crucial. They have been since the beginning of time here. If you get a great 4-man Shockwave off, you melt everybody, and giving 1,000 gold over to that champion is not how you keep your lead here. And I mean, with 1,000 gold, they're sitting on... Well, they went and spent it already. They only have 750 in the tank right now, but they have a completed Void Staff. They are going to be able to upgrade the Tier of Goddess very soon, and they're looking to pick a power point. But there's 4 seconds till Zep's back up with Teleport, and it's just the Dragon spawning.
Right behind them. There's a great ward that they could have used to flank, but instead they're trying to see if they can group as a team, get a little bit of damage. Arctic Sands, are you going to try to enter the pit, or it's going to be a fight afterwards? They're zoned away. Flash in. That is a massive magnetic storm encore followed up combo to annihilate, even with the Nora ult and the Shockwave. It does nothing to help out the team. They're kiting them back. They're killing them off. Arctic Ops, they got the perfect fight.
5-man Magnet Storm into a 5-man Encore just ends the game right there. There's already super minions there on the Nexus Tower. Scouting Ground doing their best to try and clear them out, but they're just a poor little mini-Gnar. They're not going to be able to do that in any type of fashion.
Not much here, as Earl King gets jumped on as well, chased down by Zep. Without the benefactor of your team, what happens when you're against Urgot? He is the king here. They've got the minions set up. It's only now a lone Gnar about to go mega, but without both of your Nexus turrets here, even with the flash in, the flash away from Yoshiko, you die, giving over the 12th kill to this Urgot. Make it 13. Oh no, it could have been 13, but they didn't want to. They wanted to give it over to Yoshiko, as even with the fear and pulled back in, that's the 13th for Zep.
Maybe even going for 14 here. Soulbert's alive. They're running out of minions, but
it's still Zep and Yoshiko. Keep that in mind. It's the ADCs. Well, okay, there goes one. And even with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, you cannot escape from Zep. It is another ace. And even though Earl King is about to respawn, Zep not going to let that happen. Game 1 to Arctic Ops.
A little bit of spaghetti there at the end of game 1, but you know, Arctic Ops, they had the stronger top laner. They used it to their advantage. And I mean, the game ending fight is something that should be clipped, analyzed. It should be all over Twitter by now, because that was insane. They gave up the dragon, had Zep teleport in safely with the rest of the team, and then just used the team fight power of that Rel and Seraphine combo and just took it right to him. There was no chance of surviving once those two spells combined.
That was beautiful. Just the 5-man Magnetic Storm into the 5-man Encore. I believe it was only 4 men technically, because one was standing right outside of it, but it doesn't matter. It's still beautiful wombo combo that they were able to follow up on, and even if a couple members died along the way, that meant that the game was theirs. There's nothing really that We Love Soulbert could do at that point. Arctic Ops, they get game 1 in a bit of an interesting way towards the end there, because I feel like they had so much more power beforehand, and they almost forfeited some of that back over to We Love Soulbert, only to show that they had this immense team fight.
Yeah, and the team fight was really what won them the overall fight. So heading into game number 2, I do expect the pick ban to change quite a bit. I mean, if we look at the one that we had here, you know, it was kind of set up in a certain way, and they banned away 3 top laners in the second half of draft. So, you know, the Urgot was pretty free at that point. I do expect We Love Soulbert to adjust accordingly, because they banned Renekton first half, which isn't in itself a strong pick to ban away, but the Urgot has shown that it is probably going to be a little bit more necessary to ban away.
What, he was 0-2 there at the first minutes of the game. It looked like that Urgot wasn't really going to be able to do anything, and then slowly started getting a little bit of pittance gold here and there, and finally, once he got to that power spike, he was just like, all right, here we go. This is why we pick Urgot, and only died again after that because he was way too far out by himself.
Yeah, and that was almost a bait, right? Like they're like, hey, we're sending Zep to the top side. They'll kill him, give us a little bit of positioning around the dragon, and then, hey, what? He has teleport, right? Like it's just huge, super big brain. I doubt that's what they were actually planning on doing, but we'll make it sound that way because it just looks good. But yeah, I mean, heading into game 2, draft, it's going to change. I don't see Soulbert really. Man, it's tough because
it's hard.
Like they won early game, and then it was, just a little bit of nice coordinated play coming out from Arctic Ops that clawed it back. So, I mean, if they want to run the draft back, it's very doable. I think just replace the Renekton ban with an Urgot ban, run the same thing, and just be a little bit more cautious of potentially either the Renekton pick, or you just ban that in the second half instead of, what did they ban second half instead? They banned away the
Aatrox and Corki. Those are the two that they took away.
Yeah, so maybe just be a bit more mindful of that. But yeah, Urgot, unless you first pick it here, it kind of has to go on the ban list, I think.
I agree, but right now we're going to toss to a break so we can get ready for game 2. So stick around. We'll be right back. Alrighty, guys. I believe we are ready, live back in, getting ready for game 2 of We Love Soulbert Champions Edition versus Arctic Ops. We've already dove pretty deep into the draft already with Vars, Tristana, Renekton banned away. I feel like, Narc, you're going to be a little disappointed by that ban, but Seraphine may be following up onto the bench. I'm a bit surprised that we're actually seeing that one banned away.
Yeah, I mean, Arctic Ops were the ones that first picked it last time. This time, I think they're just aware of the strength that it brings to a composition, and you know, they don't want Soulbert to have something that can bring them back into this game. I mean, so far Varus, Renekton, very similar to Soulbert's first ban phase, so this is where things kind of change up. Do they ban the Senna, or do they ban something like the Urgot? You can tell that they're really kind of thinking about it. Rel, yeah, Rel was a problem. You know, we didn't talk about it a whole lot, but Rel, you know, was specifically the reason they won that final team fight, you know, getting that giant magnet storm. So it does make bottom lane a little bit easier not having that in. On the pro draft screen, it may look like it is a blank one, but I do believe that is going to be the Rel. Yeah, it just didn't. Pro draft can sometimes be funky. So.
Uh-oh. But I see something I know you're not going to be too happy about.
They're not going to pick Tom Kench. Don't you worry.
We'll see. We'll see. With Senna first pick right there, Graves was the final ban by Arctic Ops. You never know what we might see here. I'm really curious to see what is going to be the answer by Arctic Ops. If maybe they want to run back a little bit of what they did in the bot lane, try to see if they can go for something, you know, more of the PvE style with that Sivir. But Volibear, since it was banned last time, and we did see a lot of the bans this time around kind of change about to make it so they're a little bit more reactionary, it allowed something like a Volibear to be able to slide its way through.
Yeah, I mean, this was banned away by Arctic Ops in game number 1. So this time they're on the red side. They can trade power picks a lot more easily. So they stay away from banning it. They pick up the Volibear for themselves, and they combo it with that Sivir that was such a good pick for the type of composition they had in game 1. Leads me to believe that we are going to be seeing something similar here. Maybe they pick up like the Orianna next rotation, or they pick up like a top laner tank or something like that.
Could be, but I also do think that Arctic Ops want to see if there's going to be that prime position to go back for that Urgot, since even with a lot of attention focused onto it early game, once it got into that mid game, he became a terror that was so difficult to deal with. I see a Talon lock in. Okay, it's an Udyr though. That's why I'm like, I'm gonna hold off because I know how pro draft and all that stuff is. It is Udyr that was locked in for Jalingo, not the Talon.
I was all excited. I was like, Talon can do so many things and be so problematic in the right hands, but he's not exactly good competitively, so.
Not yet, not yet. Wait until, you know, they're like what we were already talking about it, yeah, 11-8, how different that's going to be. But the Swain picked up here, and I do believe that that one is legitimate.
Nothing in the champion select chat, so I do believe you are correct.
I think it's the support. I think it's the Senna Swain bot lane. I've seen this a couple times as well, and it's one of those weird ones that you don't exactly think off the top of your head. You kind of mentioned you liked stuff like Cho'Gath or Sion to that bot lane, but Swain is something that kind of fits that same function that I had mentioned before, where it's like, you know, the Senna Ashe. You talked about the Enchanter supports. He's an unusual kind of style for the bot lane.
Yeah, I think Swain currently has a certain infamy as like the Smurf support, right? Like if you're in solo queue and the opponent picks Swain support, you're like, Jesus, he's a Smurf. He's gonna roll me in lane, and I'm just not gonna have a good time.
It's a Smurf or it's magical. It's one of the two, because I play that a lot as well, especially when I don't want to play Veigar, and they go, okay, it's the coin flip. Is it going to be good or is it going to be magical? We're hoping it's magical.
Fingers crossed. But it's strong pick, right? Like it can help clear waves very cleanly. It can do a little bit of, you know, knowledge check with its giant eyeball. It has the hard crowd control, and as soon as you land any other crowd control, you can use the passive to suck them back in, set them up for even more damaging abilities, and it works really well. I think comboing it with the Senna is actually really interesting. It's not something that I personally have actually ever seen, so I think it'll be really fun to see how that interacts. It is obviously going to be the fasting Senna, because Swain can do so much damage when given the right items. So if you funnel all your gold into him, he's a great AoE team fighter. He can solo you quite easily, and he's pretty dang tanky and hard to kill off.
And this will be prefaced, it could be flexed around. I doubt it though. I doubt it's going to be mid lane. I doubt it's going to be top lane. Sylas gets locked in, which makes me even more convinced it is going to be that Swain into the bot lane. Sylas is one of those champions that I love seeing that he's been starting to rise in a lot more of a dominant position, and not necessarily like a blind pick kind of a style, but something that is a great reaction to what your opponent has drafted for themselves, and the fact that he is that pseudo tank who dives in. The Kingslayer keeps him so relatively safe, while Sion is the final pick. So there is still the possibility that we see a bunch of flexes, but I think we already know it's Sion top, it's going to be Sylas mid, bot lane, fasting Senna with the Swain.
Yep, and then with that Udyr jungle to roam around and just cause a ton of havoc. So we get to see the final pick from Arctic Ops, and I think Arctic Ops played this draft quite cleanly. You know, jungler first pick, AD carry, then support, and then they end up getting the blind Orianna, surprisingly enough, after 2 mid lane bans in the Akali and the Rise. And Orianna, we talked about it in game 1, it's a pretty solid blind. There's not a whole lot that just outright beats her in lane, and it set him up for another Urgot pick, because Urgot gets a pretty free lane into the Sion. You know, not a lot of kill threat there. He can farm up, get to that Titanic Hydra. If he wants to go at first this time, no reason not to. You don't need to, you know, close the gap onto a Sion like you would a Gnar, so you can hit that power spike a lot quicker, and it almost invalidates the second phase of ban that We Love Soulbert came up with.
The only thing that I'm really curious to see is with the Sylas, it's always almost detrimental to lock in something that has such an impactful ult like an Urgot ult. And so now you've pretty much said you're okay if that is, you know, you're not expecting Sylas to want to steal away an Urgot ult, but he always could. And that is always the dangerous thing about having Sylas on the other side, right? And with this composition that Soulbert have drafted for themselves, that is a lot of skirmishing that they have for themselves. It's a bit of a different style. It's not the full, they can team fight, but really what they want to do is split up the team fight to be two front as opposed to just being a normal front to back style.
Yeah, and I mean, they have the tools to do it. Sylas can steal any of the ultimates from Arctic Ops and make use of it in those small skirmishes instead of the big team fights, whether it's, you know, offensively, defensively, and every single ultimate is impactful here from Arctic Ops to a pretty large degree, with almost the least impactful being the box, which with a 90+% slow once you hit a wall, how can you get more impactful realistically in a number of scenarios? So Sylas
also got AP scalings.
Yeah, like you chunk everybody too. Like you've all seen AP Volibear. Now imagine that on Sylas, just with like a little bit extra of a bit of a bonus there to do even more damage. So Sylas is in a great spot.
Before we toss it to break, I will say one of my favorite things was I was playing full AP Volibear when he first got reworked, and everyone's like, you're a troll, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, these are facts. But regardless, I was playing and we were actually like trying to see if we could backdoor, right? And I knew that his ult could damage turrets, and I was nearly full build. And so I went to the Nexus turrets, right? And I ulted them. And I nearly one-shot both of them with the ult. Because late game, level 16 Volibear ult when you're full AP just does absurd amount of damage to turrets. But that's not what we're going to see today. We're going to see far more of a team fight style with the tank build coming in from Arctic Sands. We're going to toss it to a break. We're going to be right back for game number 2 here between the two undefeated squads of Arctic Ops and We Love Soulbert Champions Edition. So stick around. Welcome back. We have loaded up onto the Rift here for week 7 of the Risen Premade Dominate. It is interesting to see how this is going right now. We have our last split champions down 0-1 against Arctic Ops. Both teams coming into this series undefeated, but it seems like one of them will have to leave this one at least battered and bruised with one series loss. Who will it be? Will we see We Love Soulbert come back into this game, or is it going to be a quick 2-0 coming in from Arctic Ops?
Once again, Magical, looks like you're going to be pretty disappointed here, although...
Hey, I don't know. Look at this. It's a late invade. Oh, no, they're just putting the war down.
Damage happened. PogChamp.
Well, okay, it's a little, at least it's something. You know what? I'll take that over just kind of standing around and staring at each other menacingly, not really actually doing anything impactfully.
Yeah, I mean, what can you do? It's level 1. Teams are scared. They don't want to lose. They don't want to go home defeated. And I want to point something out, Magical. Yeah, I mean, look at the bottom lane, Magical. We're talking about fasting Senna and all these other things. But is it really fasting Senna when you give it to your support and you pick an AP carry for your bot laner?
That is a good question. That is a good philosophical quandary to ask ourselves here. Because, I mean, technically...
It is.
Technically, it is support, but she's also going to be doing a lot of damage as opposed to what you would expect a normal support to do. Though, looking right now, Esports was able to get a little bit of damage on Elise, kind of scaring away Yoshiko and Elise this time around, trying to see if they're going to be the ones to take control, get that level 2 experience lead. Since last time around, they were the ones that fell behind. It was that trade of blows that resulted in first blood for Arctic Ops.
Yeah, this is gonna be a tough lane for Elise and Yoshiko because, you know, Esports is gonna continue getting, you know, these soul orbs for free because they're not farming. They're gonna get, you know, the range increase, and the glacial augment slow is gonna be really problematic because what do you do? So combo that with Soulbert constantly throwing, you know, these grasps out and bringing them back in, and then you somehow have to escape the glacial augment slow into, you know, potentially the snare from Esports as well. Like, there's a lot of crowd control you have to be aware of, and it can be very hard to dodge all of it. So on 2 relatively immobile champions.
Hey, you know what I've been told? If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. You know what? And I learned these wise words many years ago. Traffic too, you know, all these things. Whatever dodgeball it taught me back in the day. I
Did you have to dodge traffic too, right? Because they got the Scion.
Yeah. That's like exactly. That's what I'm saying. But right now, gonna be able to get the hook on a Soulbert. Pulled back in, at least flash for that. They're trying to get first blood for Yoshiko. Will be able to get it, but look who's here. Jalingo wants to flash forward for his own kill, and then getting the stun onto Yoshiko, so Esports will be able to take one as well.
Yeah, I like that. Giving it over to the Senna. She's going to be the part of the carry duo this time, so it makes a whole lot of sense. And then that level 2 happened, or 2v2 happened, excuse me, because you were punished by one of the deficits that having an AP carry is that they're not the consistent damage threats that AD carries are. And so, you know, Yoshiko's able to just continue auto attacking. It doesn't matter that your abilities are on cooldown because your auto attacks deal enough damage to get the job done. Whereas Soulbert, you know, they blew their whole combo, and then from that point forward, they were on the defensive trying to run away. They had to use all of their summoners. They even got the heal in from Esports, which tried to keep him alive a little bit longer, and it wasn't enough. They barely didn't have enough damage, and so unfortunately first blood does go to Yoshiko, but it is traded back nicely by Jalingo with the first kill, and then Esports picking up the second.
Exactly, and that's what you like to see, is being able to get some of that gold into this fasting Senna. And see, that's where it's like, technically, yeah, it is fasting Senna because there is going to be the damage still that you're trying to get, going for these expensive items that normally, you know, supports a lot cheaper items. Here, you want to be able to get the sacks, you want to be able to get some gold by getting some of these kills, and being able to find at least scraps on the map so that you're not quite so far behind.
Yeah, and you know, Senna with that Kraken Slayer just chunks. Like, she just done a ton of damage. So,
well, I'm wondering if it's going to be Kraken Slayer or if it's going to be Duskblade. Sometimes you still see the Duskblade build come through.
I do think Duskblade carries are on the verge of coming back. We've seen a lot of Varus this weekend in certain regions, but it's also Kraken Slayer Varus, which works. But I think there is room.
Duskblade Varus as well, but
there's so many tanks right now, right? Like, how do you deal with that? That's
the problem. That's the bigger problem I have with going for Duskblade, where I prefer that Kraken Slayer just because you're able to get through someone like Volibear, like Urgot, who are going to be a little bit more difficult to kill if you do end up going for that lethality style.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly why we haven't seen it yet. So we are in a bit of a lull state, Magical, but I mean, so far,
and really, we're just waiting for one of these CCs to lock down in the bot lane, but there's going to be Elise who takes the brunt of it, trying to flash away with the Flay, still rooted, looking for it. Yoshiko was able to get the kill with the TP in behind, coming in from Bounty Hunter with the sombrero on top of Soulbert. They chase that down and get the goal over to Arctic Sands. 2 more kills for Arctic Ops.
What a display of magical or mechanical brilliance there from IRS Bounty Hunter. Teleports in, does the shockwave flash combo. It looks so good. There's no way to dodge it at that point either. And so Soulbert falling for the 2nd time already on this Swain could potentially give the dragon over if they so choose. We're getting the choo-choo train. What is Earl King doing? They're really trying right now.
They're trying, flashed away. They stole away the ult to hoping that they were going to be able to connect that, but it's going to be the ult coming in from Zap, the snipe baby 1v2.
That's so bad for We Love Soulbert. Oh no, you spent all that time and effort roaming into the top lane to punish the teleport of Bounty Hunter. You tank like 3 or 4 tower shots, you get the flash, and you're like, all right, cool, successful gank, good job, boys. And then Zep has just enough mana to get the rocket out, suck him back in, and Scouting Ground just wasn't like prepared to block it. So both of them just get punished hugely, and it does give another early kill on over to Zep, who is now going to be a little bit of a monster, picking up that Iron Spike whip. Even has the cull, right? Like, we're 50 stacks down on the cull because there's nothing stopping Zep from just farming away here.
As you can see, unfortunately, Scouting Grounds with the plated steel caps really has nothing you could do there into that lane. This is where it's a little rocky for the side of We Love Soulbert Champions Edition. They are trying to see if they can replicate what they did last split, but just not getting exactly the fights to work out this early game. We did see last time, even with the early kills, it didn't necessarily work out for Arctic Ops, but here, they're getting a lot for themselves. They take down Echelon, they do kill Zep in the top lane for We Love Soulbert. It's going to be the pull back in. 3rd death of the game for Soulbert. 4th kill for Yoshiko.
Yoshiko's popping off this game. There was a little bit of time in the first game where it looked like they weren't quite on par with what they were looking for the rest of the team, but this time Yoshiko absolutely where they need to be. 4 kills already onto this Sivir. Going to be an absolute massive player in these next couple team fights because they're going to have their mythic already completed. They hurt so bad with all these ricochets coming on through, and you're even throwing plate gold on top of this. This is just so problematic for Soulbert. If you are an Arctic Ops fan, though, you are in high heaven right now.
Yeah, you are. As Yoshiko trying to grab the lantern, will be able to get it. Not locked down long enough with all the roots. I was a little worried there for a second because that would be a hefty chunk of change to be able to get that shutdown off of Yoshiko.
They even tried to use the control ward too to really cement in. But it's a bit finicky. You got to be really precise with that control ward sometimes, but they are going to get the push in here. They clear waves very quickly, so they'll be able to throw at least a little bit into this tower here, try and even up that gold just a hair. And it is going to be the Gale Force Sivir.
We saw this last time. We did see the same build from Yoshiko in game 1, but I don't know if I'm as sold. So right now, Zep looking like in a bit of trouble here. Should die to Scouting Ground, 2nd death of the game. But we saw this last game as well. This is kind of looking like a bit of deja vu.
Yeah, and that was the stolen shockwave as well coming in clutch there. So Earl King being able to steal that ability, run topside, and make usage of it is really strong here.
Oh no. Hook from Elise with the box on Soulbert to get a rampage for Yoshiko. And they have this dive. Echelon, there's no turn. Homewrecker, 100% win rate, baby.
100%.
I always mention it.
Almost filled up the tower.
Doc thought that I wouldn't. He's like, there's no way he would still make this reference, right? It's been how long since Omewrecker's been removed?
I was just saying, it's kind of your thing though, Magical, right? You know, it's what kind of threw you into the spotlight.
Exactly. It's that and Flash is an offensive summoner. Those are my catchphrases.
It is though, right? Like, I don't know who out here is actually challenging that statement. Flash goes on D, it's an offensive summoner, and Omewrecker sucks. Like, it's just the classic state of law.
See, I agree with all those statements except for one. It's like what is it? The two truths and a lie that you just said. But anyways, going back into this game right now. That is 5 kills now for Yoshiko. This is just looking so brutal in this bot lane. I was so hyped for seeing Swain and Senna bot lane, right? And Arctic Tops are like, all right, look, listen here. This isn't how it goes. We got ourselves Thresh, great pick tool to be able to punish this Swain before he's able to get to the point that he's going to be happy and content. You can't really kill him because he's just that unkillable god when he goes into the demon form. Well, you're still sitting on a lost chapter. They got Gale Force and they got Berserker's Greaves. Your best hope is to be able to continually punish Zep in this top lane, constantly trying to kill this Urgot, because otherwise you're worrying about the bot lane falling to tatters. Even bot lane with a flash in from Elise once more. Arctic Sands is here again! Well, how many times is he gonna be in this bot lane to get a 6th kill? Now, for Yoshiko.
I mean, it's working. Why would you not fix what's not broken? I mean, they've clearly really taken advantage of this AP carry in the bottom lane. And, you know, it seems like that was kind of the game plan once that was picked. They recognized the deficits of an AP carry and how to punish them. And it's just keep ganking them, right? They're not relevant if they don't have items. And so when you sit here on just this chapter book and you're not getting anything done and you're not getting any gold, because as soon as you get into lane, you're dead. Like, it is gray screen simulated for Soulbert this game. And, you know, we love Soulbert as a whole is trying to make the same thing happen in that top lane with Zep currently 1 in 3. But, I mean, with the call, with the ultimate in the back pocket, I don't think the results are going to be the same. You can keep ganking Zep. You can keep killing them as they're here again, by the way. But, like, you lost Dragon. You lost Bot Tower. Is it worth it? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. There's so much gold put into the Sivir, and you know, I was making the memes if it's the PvE simulator whenever you grab a Sivir. Well, not anymore. You put all this gold into her pockets to make sure that she's going to be the carry. This is what you're going to rely on. It's making sure that this ADC is doing an immense amount of damage. And while sure, you have decent lockdown potential to be able to get into the backline, there's an amazing peel on the side of Arctic Ops that makes it difficult to even get there in the first place.
Yeah. I think the Silas could start posing a problem. You know, he's only 1 and 2, but
wait, Scouting Grounds?
What?
You not
see? Wait, I just saw it. So this is something I saw a lot of. Oh Jesus, like 4 patches ago.
Right. It's been a while.
It's less than ideal, but I guess if the game plan is to actually 1v1 Zep, it's almost necessary because, you know, if you go the Chem Tank route or even the Frozen Fist route, Zep will eventually just outscale you damage-wise, I think, as the Scion. So if you want to contend the 1v1, it's necessary, but you are absolute not gonna happen in a team fight. Like, you were just gonna be melted front to back, and with the Sivir already having 6 kills and that Executioner's calling and a Sheen in the back pocket, Scouting Ground is just gonna get exploded.
Right, that's my big thing, is that you're trying to see if you can rely on being able to burst the back line. You got to get there in the first place. You got to be able to get on top of them, and eventually Zep is going to be tanky enough that it's difficult to actually deal with Urgot in the first place. You're not really going to be able to stop him, let alone be able to annihilate Yoshiko.
Yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting build, to be sure. If it works, then we can't call him a madman, but until then, we will continue
like I said,
to do so.
It's been a while. It's been a while since I've seen it, and I guess, you know, with the state of the game and how it's going, right? Bot lane hasn't been going so well. You kind of do need that 80 damage since Eshwan hasn't been able to get towards that spike you'd want Senna to be. Still working towards the Kraken Slayer. It is the Kraken Slayer build path here. It's going to be a while till you can rely on anybody besides Silas, besides Udyr to do damage. And if you're relying on Udyr, who's got a chem tank, to be your damage dealer here in the mid game, not really working out so well. So maybe it's just more of a band-aid fix, trying to get this bot lane back in a position that they're going to be more reliable in these upcoming skirmishing fights. Because right now with stolen ults and trying to see if they can get on top of Bounty Hunter or on top of Arctic Sands, it's just not working out. The flash in with the Bear Slap, going to have the charge in, double knockup, annihilating Bounty Hunter and Elise with only Arctic Sands. Now Zep joining into the fight, into the backline. Arctic Sands trying to be able to get away, looking for the Fear Beyond Death to be able to pull back in the chains and get the fear on Eshwan, but it's the showed up back in for Scouting Grounds, back in from Earl King. Yoshiko flashing over the wall to try to survive because there's a lot of gold they don't want to give up.
Yeah, that was a really nice coordinated fight coming in from We Love Soulbert. They managed to just take advantage of that chem tank and the choo-choo train coming in from Scouting Ground and just create this really pincer maneuver. And it was the full disengage coming in from Arctic Ops. It's just they weren't quick enough. Dissonance was used early. You can't outpace Jalingo with just that one ability. It also was Arctic Sands ulting out almost immediately in response to the stolen one from Earl King. So they're not very quick on their feet without this, you know, on the hunt. And they were punished rightly for being that aggressive on the tower.
Well, and this is kind of what we were talking about, right? Is that the composition that was drafted by the side of We Love Soulbert is to be a skirmish composition. They want split fights, and that is exactly what that was topside. While the side of Arctic Ops, they need more of that coordinated front-to-back team fight position to make it so they're more confident. And if you're not in that position, if you're not set up, well, you're just going to be run down pretty easily, especially by Lethality Scion.
Yeah, and I mean, you need the gold to be in the team fight. And right now, all of the gold for Arctic Ops is on their AD carry Yoshiko, who was not in that team fight. Had they been there, maybe it's a different story with the combination of On the Hunt plus the outright amount of damage they're putting out. They are just going to be having Gale Force off cooldown in just a second. There it is. So with this dragon fight, it being sole point for Arctic Ops, you know, this is almost a must fight for Soulbert. You don't need to fight the third dragon, but I think at this stage for them, it would be helpful. They just need to have an answer to Yoshiko, is what it is. I
think they take it. I think if you're Soulbert, you actually want to fight this. You're in a pretty decent position, even if it seems like it could be difficult in a full-on front-to-back team fight. You still can split up the fight decently enough at this point. It's a little bit easier, especially since you got Everfrost completed. The Prowler's Claw allows the Scion to dive a bit easier into the backline, while everyone else on the side of Arctic Ops are still kind of middling in their build paths, right? You're starting to get a lot more of these mythics completed, but we're not at that power spike that we were talking about with Urgot, where he gets the Titanic Hydra and he feels nearly unkillable while dishing out so much damage, right? You're still only on the Frostfire for Arctic Sam, so even with that, he's not as tanky as he would like to be. Everything is better for the side of Soulbert, so you try to force what you can at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, with that Herald, they do just give it up as we do see the top lane breaking out in fight
probably
once
gonna die
again.
Here. They have themselves at least the lockdown potential. Yeah, exactly. He's trying to be able to get away from this one. Elise is here as well. It's going to be a long chase down, but Yoshiko, you got to be careful. Jalingo looking to see if they can get the kill there. Heals available, but it is going to be finally Earl King dying, killed off by Zep.
Shutdown going over to Zep, so starting to be a little bit concerning for We Love Soulbert. You know, we're starting to get that point where Zep's Urgot is a scary thing. We are trading towers across the map, though. You know, one was picked up by Yoshiko, then chased down by Jalingo. Didn't have any summoners to blow, though, so they are going to hold on to all of those. In the end, I think it is going to be a 2-for-1 tower trade in favor of Arctic Ops, but, I mean, throw the kill on top of it. Arctic Ops are coming out really good here.
Exactly. It's a good position for them to find themselves in. They got the kill, shut down onto Earl King, giving it over to Zep to be stronger in the side lane. Like I said, once that Titanic is completed, it's going to be even stronger for this Urgot trying to face off against Scouting Grounds. He's gone for Lethality Scion, so unless he's landing that ultimate on top of Urgot and somehow killing him off immediately, that Urgot eventually is going to always win these side lane duels against Scion. It's looking a bit rough for the side of We Love Soulbert. I need to see them try to force this issue, right? They are the skirmish competition. They are about this mid-game and trying to see if they can find these fights. And right now, they're struggling to have a foothold onto the map.
Yeah, they're playing reactionary a lot of the times. You know, we're seeing Arctic Ops push a tower, and then We Love Soulbert responded. There was the time on the top side where they worked out and they got a bunch of kills. That was great. Then we saw them, you know, try and reactively push onto Zep with, you know, Earl King hiding in the bush there. That didn't work out. Then they tried to respond to Yoshiko pushing the mid lane tower. That didn't work out. And then just lost a lot of objectives. The most proactive thing we've seen from We Love Soulbert was them using that Rift Herald to secure the last dragon. And so, you know, with no longer any heralds available because they're all dead and gone, extinct for this map, you know, what do they do with this next dragon? It's in 2 minutes, and by and large, on a 5v5, we haven't seen one yet. So we have to imagine Arctic Ops are the more put together team here with their string of mythics, with the champions they've drafted for themselves. And unless, you know, we can see Soulbert split the fight like they have the option to do, I think the front to back just falls once again into Arctic Ops' lap.
As we start seeing more armor picked up by the side of Arctic Ops as well, going to make it that much more difficult for We Love Soulbert to actually kill them quickly and be able to win these skirmishes, right? It's no longer going to be that position that they found themselves in a bit of power, even if it was relatively even in gold, where they're going to be as confident. They need to make sure they're not just playing reactionary. They're not just playing to deny the side of Arctic Ops, because if they keep doing that, well, this game is going to go over to Arctic Ops unless they make some incredible mistakes.
Yeah, we're going to need to see a little bit more pressure being put into this vision war as well. Looking at the minimap right now in terms of this dragon vision, it's mostly in the side of Arctic Ops. There is this one canceled ward here in this river bush, but outside of that, they don't really have, well, they have this one that's been cleared out, but largely they don't have anything. There's a control ward on their side as a defensive ward to make sure they're not being invaded upon, but they have 30 seconds to get in here, either get vision of themselves or just take a team fight, because if you're trying to blindly walk into Thresh, Urgot, or Rihanna, you are gonna have a bad time.
And you can already see right now, it's the vision game, the back and forth tug of war between the two teams, trying to secure vision around this dragon pit, especially for the side of We Love Soulbert. They cannot let soul points get into the hands of Arctic Ops. That gives them so much control to continue to force We Love Soulbert to be reactionary, especially now that Eshwan had to use cleanse. Look at the damage. Was that just one auto attack that came in from Yoshiko?
I think it was dissonance too from the Oriana.
Distance? Okay, that makes sense. I'm like, Jesus, Eshwan took a lot of damage there as the Scion choo-choo train gonna chug along right past Dawning Shadow with the jump back in. Double Stormbringer with the pull back on Earl King, but nobody's dead just yet. Trying to see if Soulbert can get in a position. They got at least the pull back onto Yoshiko, flashing away to be able to survive. Double knock him, only going to be onto one member, but they're going to be able to get the dominating they need to out of Yoshiko. Finally, they shut down. Lethality Scion's got him, the flash away. They've got a bit of damage coming in from Bounty Hunter, but it's a chase down by Soulbert to take down 3 members of Arctic Ops.
And they're going to be able to take the dragon as well on top of everything. No ultimate that fight for Zep. Had used it earlier to try and snipe out Eshwan. And once again, we see Yoshiko using that Gale Force to go so deep into the team fight, trying to get that execute damage out. And once they were so far forward, all of the crowd control from Scouting Ground, Jalingo, and even Earl King just layered down on top of that Sivir. No chance to escape, even after burning heal and flash. And without that Sivir damage coming through on the team fight, there is not a whole lot of consistency to be done. Zep wasn't even like allowed in that team fight in auto attack range for a large portion of that, just due to the way the map split worked out. So split the team fight.
They're gonna be a bit too late on this one. They're trying to get inside, looking to see if they can get the snipe. It's stolen away! They got it! Arctic Sands was able to get it for himself, and at the cost of 2 to the side of Earl King. But stealing away the Baron is exactly what Arctic Ops needed.
I think that's totally worth. You stop that huge pressure advantage from the Baron going over to We Love Soulbert, who were going to be able to press their lead even a little bit further. They would have had the gold lead at that point. They'd be able to push down these other tier 1, tier 2 towers in bot and mid, just break open this map, allow for more skirmishing potential, and with that steal, it is going to give Arctic Ops a little bit more time to stall, to scale, to make sure they can get better grouped for these next objective fights, and just make sure they're in a better position overall. So massive steal from Arctic Sands there. They lose 2, which is sad, but again, overall, totally worth.
I was to say they lose 2, but it's a Baron on top of Bounty Hunter, Baron on top of Yoshiko, and a Baron on top of Zep. That's perfect. You set them up for the 1-3-1 where you can assault all lanes. You have immense wave clear at this point. The only issue you have to deal with is if Scouting Grounds is put up against Bounty Hunter, because well, Bounty Hunter can deal with everyone else, can't really deal with the lethality side. You can see right there, Choo-Choo Train, the damage coming in, Shockwave, trying to be able to get away, was able to dodge away from a little bit, but at least Arctic Sands was there to try to help out Bounty Hunter be able to escape from what seemed like a sure death.
That was pretty close, and you are right in that, yeah, Bounty Hunter can't contest this. You know, doesn't have any armor in the back pocket. No Zonia is completed just yet, and that's a lot of lethality.
Well, Dawning Shadow only onto Zep. You can still see that We Love Soulbert are not trying to go silently. They want to continue to have these skirmishes, splitting up the fights as best as possible. But once we have the setup put there by the side of Arctic Ops, you can see they have to scatter. They have to pull back and say, what is the new plan? Where do we go next?
And they get a bottom tower, but like you're right, they're scattered to the wind, the push coming down here, but surprisingly enough, because of the way the game has shifted, it's forcing Arctic Ops into just these death ball type scenarios where they don't feel confident enough to go for this 1-3-1 anymore. They can't really leave anybody out on their own because of how much mobility Soulbert's bringing to the table across all of their champions. And so right now, you know, they're deathballing through these towers, making the most out of the Baron that they've secured for themselves. And so far, they've gotten one, looking to get a second here, but will they be able to is the question.
Should be able to on the next minion wave push with all the members here, but they got to be careful. Here's the Choo-Choo Train. Nobody's body blocking it. It's going to be a 3 knocked up instead, at least taking a lot of damage. Bach puts down the damage onto Earl King. They take him out. Zep pulling back in. Going to be able to get a double fear. S1 cleansing, trying to survive. Finally getting the shot down. Scouting Ground is gone, and they've got the stun in. Jolingo, the last man standing, trying to be able to get away from this fight, having to book it out of there with the Baron no longer there. It's no longer needed for Arctic Ops. They finally crack the turret.
Sivir survives and they win a team fight. It's as simple as that. You have so much gold, so much power funneled into your AD champion here. If they survive the team fight, there's nobody that's going to be able to contest them, especially with this lethality Scion. You know, they had that great Choo-Choo engage. It landed onto 3 members, followed that up nicely. They're really trying to play with that inhibitor a little bit. They do break it eventually.
Well, I think they're afraid because if you look at the death timers right now,
they're pretty low.
Ground's about to come back up and he has TP. They're afraid of the flank that could have come in. Even if, sure, lethality Scion, you can say you're not too worried about him, but he can nuke Yoshiko if he lands on top of him. And you need this Sivir to be alive, especially now the Dragon's up. You're both within getting soul point. And if you give up a 3rd Infernal Dragon to the side of We Love Soulbert, that is a bad position to be against, especially against that lethality Scion.
Yeah, I mean, the Scion did a ton of damage last team fight. It landed its ultimate under 3 members. Scouting Ground had this great engage, but they just didn't connect onto the back line. And so the front to back then breaks out from that point. And as we've continuously said, Arctic Ops are stronger in that scenario.
Well, here's the pullback coming in from Soulbert onto Elise, waiting to see if Scouting Grounds is going to be able to get a nice Choo-Choo charge. Waiting. There it is. Pulled the trigger. Is going to knock. It's only going to be onto the tanky member. Arctic Sands pulled back in. Still alive, though. Trying to be able to get away. As you can see, that Earl King wants to be able to get the flank onto Bounty Hunter or onto Yoshiko. Slow down, body blocked by the shield. Still not relenting. Still continuing into the backline. Earl King goes golden. Zep's going to be the first casualty in the fight. Earl King barely getting away. Finally dies to the auto attack. Shockwave onto 3 members. Rips them apart. Triple kill from Yoshiko. That will be the dragon, and that might even be the game.
That might very well be the game. Teleporting to the top lane, super minions just outside of the base. They're going to finish the dragon first before joining him, but with only this lethality Scion surviving and having a sanguine blade nonetheless, they are not in any shape to defend these Nexus towers. And so time's actually pretty close. There's only 10 seconds on Echelon, and with how long it's going to take the rest of these members to run into the base, I'm curious if they can actually end it here.
Look
It'll
at
be
this.
close.
They are trying right now. Arctic Sands does not have Stormbringer. They get one Nexus turret, but Earl King has TP again. You can see that Arctic Ops understanding the death timers, not wanting to get flanked, not knowing if there's a flank ward to TP2. They back out of the fight, wanting to now reset around that Baron.
Yeah, they're gonna fall back. They do need to reset. Ellis has to, at the very least, you know, doesn't have any wards left except for the control ward. Doesn't have, you know, a lot of HP. So they are just gonna, you know, secure Scuttle Crab, go back to base, spend all this gold. They've earned, everybody for the most part, over 1K ready to spend. So you're gonna be coming back just that much stronger into the Baron fight, unless Soulbert just hard rush it. It's a very slow-ish Baron. Yeah, it's pretty slow because they have an AP carry instead of an AD carry, and Eshwan hasn't had the strongest of games, so they're not super far ahead as the Senna. So it's pretty slow, but it does look like they're going to play it a little bit safer than that. Resets come in. Maybe they catch Zep, but he's aware of it, so they are going to fall away and reset.
I honestly even wonder if maybe Zep should try to bait them in, because if you see at least two members, Jalingo hanging around this bot lane as well, you immediately pull the trigger onto that Baron, right? Yeah. You immediately try to see if you can take that, because you have a pretty good speed at taking down that objective, taking down the Baron quickly.
It's a 4-item Sivir. You melt everything. And if we're comparing AD carry to AD carry, it's 4 items versus 2. If we're comparing carry to carry, again, still 2 items to 4, because, you know, the 1 in 7 Swain here has a Zhonya's second with a Leandri's first item. They're not exactly high damage output, so there is a stage where Swain will become that unkillable bird monster that we all know and love, but it's gonna be a couple more minutes, and at this rate I don't know if they even have a couple more minutes. It all falls down to this last team fight.
Yeah, we're 32 minutes into the game, and you're sitting on 2 items as you're Swain. You're not getting to that unkillable state. You're not getting to that point that you want to, unless somehow you can drag the game out for another 15 minutes. It's not looking likely as the setup from Arctic Ops around this Baron. They're trying to see if they can force the issue.
It's melting. It is going down so fast, and Zep's not even there. No. Like, that is all off the back of mid and AD.
Look at this. Elise and Zep are trying to zone away. They've already got it. It's going to be the unstoppable onslaught into the backline, but it's not going to be able to connect onto the members it needs to. As Yoshiko tried to be able to get away from Jalingo, pulled back in. The chain gets the fear, double kill, and they've taken down Soulbert. Eshwan follows as well. 4 dead, only the lethality sound. The zombie, he finds himself a living dead here in the top lane, trying to see if he can escape, but it's the denied backs by Elise, not letting him get home, so that way game 2 and the series can be picked up by Arctic Ops in an undefeated. Oh no! The inhibitor!
The inhibitor.
They're fine, but it's just so funny to see the inhibitor respawn. There it is! 2-0 victory. Arctic Ops remain undefeated.
In pretty dominant fashion too. There were, you know, scenarios in both games where it looked like Soulbert were going to be able to come back, but by and large, Arctic Ops just had their number. And, you know, heading into that second game, we were curious what it was going to be the change. And once again, Urgot not banned away, and clearly not the issue, but it was certainly a issue. That last team fight, Yoshiko being able to survive, being able to flash away, being able to gale force away, and keep outputting all of that massive amount of damage. If you were watching the Swain's HP bar, every single auto attack was dealing like 15% of Swain's HP bar, and just there's no chance you can take out Sivir at that stage.
Especially when that Sivir has grievous wounds, so you're just not even healing back up like you'd want to. It was a rough game for Soulbert, definitely, but a great showing coming in from Arctic Ops. I will say, I feel like anyone playing against the team needs to take away that Urgot until 11-8, when he finally will, well, Titanic Hydra will receive some nerfs, and so he won't be quite as dominant. But until then, no Urgot for Zep.
No, I mean, it's too strong. It's just too good. And I mean, they tried multiple answers. They tried the Gnar last time, the Sion this time. Granted, you could have tried a tank Sion, but I'm gonna be honest. I don't think AD Scion was not right for this game. Scouting Ground had an amazing score line.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it was bad. It just, I will say it's rough when your bot lane was kind of far behind to begin with, right? Yoshiko and Elise did great in the bot lane. They were dominating, and Arctic Sands spent so much time into that bot lane to ensure that Yoshiko was going to get a lot of that gold, and the Swain Senna composition was not going to be able to come online.
Yeah, definitely full camping setup there. They had the campfire, the tent, the little hammock by the tree as well. Arctic Sands did so much right, making sure that their carry was going to fall ahead, and they just played that to the best of their ability. There was that one dragon fight where it didn't break their way, you know, a little overzealous from the side of Arctic Ops, but they recovered nicely. They regained composure and closed it out cleanly, quietly, and with not a lot of hiccups after that.
Exactly. Well done by Arctic Ops to be able to pick up that 2-0 here, being able to take down the former champions themselves, and We Love Soulbert Champion Edition now having a loss next to their record, while Arctic Ops remain undefeated. It was a lot quicker of a day than I was expecting. I thought with the two undefeated teams that we would be here for the long haul of the best of three, but you know what? Sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles, right?
Exactly.
Well, it was great being here back at Risen to cast this games with you, Doctor, but we're going to end it off there. 2-0 Arctic Ops. It was great having everyone here. We will see you next time.